Going southbound. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, very dangerous. And I should add that one of the things that deputies were wondering was whether a weapon was used in the robbery. So the information that they got back is that it was not. So there was no weapon used in the robbery, so they don't believe that this person is armed. And continuing, though, here on Broadway, coming up to 85th Street, slowing down just a touch. And Carolyn, you were mentioning the concept of going into tracking mode or even backing off. And really the concept behind that is that the sheriff's department thinks that maybe if the vehicle doesn't think that they're being pursued, then maybe they'll slow down and start to drive a little bit more carefully. And sometimes it works, but a lot of time it doesn't. And in this case, even though there's no one behind him, he's still driving very recklessly and is now getting back on the 110 freeway, headed southbound now. Southbound 110, Harry. And another thing we heard was that a weapon was not used, so that's good news there, that they don't believe that this person is armed. But the driving has been so incredibly dangerous. There was a point where he crashed into a number of parked vehicles and then just took off. And speeds like what you're seeing now is what we've seen throughout this pursuit, roughly 80 miles an hour or so on a very busy freeway here on a Monday afternoon on the southbound side of the 110 freeway coming up to Century. So next freeway that he's going to come up to will be the 105 freeway, which he's been on before. He was over near the 105 and the 605 for a good portion of the time before making his way westbound and joining the northbound 110 freeway, which he has now reversed course on and is headed southbound. Yeah, 95 miles an hour. That's what makes it so dangerous because the freeway's pretty busy. So there's going to be slower moving vehicles in front of him, and these are really high speeds. And there's no ground units behind him. There's no patrol units behind him. So there's really nothing for other drivers to know that this vehicle is coming their way. Southbound. Southbound. Southbound, Harry, south. Yeah. Yeah, I'm back with you guys here. Yeah, we are navigating the difficult airspace that LAX can be at this time of the day, but we're southbound on the 110 freeway at the 105, just passing by El Segundo, and he's in the carpool lane. Fortunately, traffic on this stretch of the freeway not as bad as what we saw there in South Los Angeles. Yeah, as far as we know, this is not a stolen car. So as long as those plates actually correspond to the vehicle, then deputies would have had an opportunity by now to run the plates and figure out where the vehicle is registered to. And so what they'll typically do in these situations is send some deputies to that location and just wait for the car, because oftentimes people will just return to an area that is familiar to them. They'll usually just go home, they'll go to a friend's house, and they can try to take them into custody then. Yeah, absolutely. All the in and out of traffic, weaving in and out of lanes like that, it is very dangerous driving. If he could just stick to one lane, even if he's going 100 miles an hour, that would be so much better than what we're seeing, because he is really all over the place. And one wrong move, and there's going to be a collision, and hopefully nobody gets hurt. But there has been one crash already when he crashed into a number of parked vehicles and then continued on. That is when we first heard about the chase, and it's been going on now for quite some time. I'd say about the last 30 to 40 minutes at this point. Yeah. Absolutely, Colleen, and I can see some of that slowing coming up here in the next few miles, so you're going to get to witness it here firsthand. But as you said, with a lot of that port traffic, there's a lot of vehicles coming up ahead, and he may get stuck in some of that. Yeah, it looks, he did miss his chance there. I hear that he may be exiting, actually. And so I'm going to just widen out the shot here a little bit because we lost him there with the overpass. I think this is him, though. Yeah, so it looks like he is, in fact, exiting. Yeah, so he's exiting, Harry. He's right behind us. He's behind us. He's on the 91. 91 East. Yeah, he's got no ground units behind him, so he wouldn't know based off of that he's being pursued. But there is a police helicopter overhead. The sheriff's department has their helicopter, and they're the ones that are calling out this chase. And there's a CHP unit. You saw him move there. He was waiting at the off-ramp, so let's see if he gets behind the car. So Harry, he is right off our nose. He just exited and is going west. And there's that CHP unit now behind. There's a second one. So this will make it easier for us to follow at least. And it'll make it easier also for other drivers just to know of the danger that is coming their way, because they'll at least see those black and whites with their lights on, and that will kind of just trigger in them the idea that there's some police activity. Oh gosh, oh my gosh. Wow. I thought he was going to crash for sure. Oh my gosh, all of that cross-traffic situation. What a dangerous situation, and somehow he was able to get out of it unscathed. Yeah, so dangerous. That would be the watch commander. So the watch commander back at Lakewood Station, since they were the original agency, it would be up to the watch commander to cancel. And I am hearing that the watch commander is actually asking for surveillance mode only. So that means no ground units. It'll only be the helicopter overhead continuing to track this guy. Your side, Harry. He's on your side. Your side. Yeah, he's on your side. So the CHP can take over. But ideally, they would want to take over on the highway since that's their jurisdiction. In this case, we're on surface streets. That's not their jurisdiction. This is sheriff's territory, so they're basically the handling agency. So if they're deciding to go into surveillance mode, then that's all they're going to be able to do at this point. But there's the CHP. They're really not giving him much room. I think they think he's going to get back on the freeway, so they'll be able to continue to follow him. Yeah, so dangerous. And they've tried backing off to see if that would help. It obviously doesn't. So he continues to drive very recklessly. So at this point, I think the California Highway Patrol figures that they have nothing to lose by just putting some ground units behind him and see if that gets him, if not to slow down, then at least just to warn other drivers of the danger that is coming their way. But we're Albertonia, Avalon here in the Carson area. Yeah, absolutely. It definitely felt like they were going to go in for the pit, but as you said, not at these speeds. Ideally, they want 35 miles an hour or less. Otherwise, it's really not effective, and it could also hurt the driver if they try to do anything any faster than that. But it looks like he's come up to a little bit of traffic. He's going to do a little off-roading here. I think he might be on the sidewalk there. Yeah, he's up on the sidewalk is what we're hearing. He's just on the other side of this wall. And now he's back on the road and continuing east. Oh, there goes his rim. Yeah, I just saw the hubcap go flying. So the hubcap went flying after that moment there that he had on the sidewalk. Oh, lots of traffic. Oh, gosh, yeah, he just took out that mirror. He's behind us, Harry. Yeah, so do a slight turn. And now it's out your side. Keep going. Yeah, it's unclear how many people may be in the car. I did for a moment hear talks about a man and a woman, but I've been unable to confirm that or hear it again on the scanner. But at this point, unclear how many people may be in the car or whether the driver is a man or a woman or how many people were involved in that robbery. Sometimes in these situations, multiple vehicles are used in robberies. So at this point, it is unclear if these people were acting alone or if there was another car involved. But clearly, as you said, there is a desperation to get away. I mean, we have seen so many dangerous situations as a result of this pursuit, and it is incredible that this driver is able to continue going and now going eastbound here on the 91 freeway. Yeah, roughly about 45 minutes at this point. It's been going on for quite some time. Started in Lakewood, as you said. Lakewood sheriffs initially in pursuit. Now that we're on the highway, we've seen some of those CHP units get behind the car, but really not slowing this driver down in any way other than traffic. That's the only thing that's ahead of us, Harry. Yeah, so yeah, we're roughly in the Carson area, but if he continues, yeah, he's exiting Maine is what I'm hearing. So yeah, so 91 at Maine, so still roughly the Carson area. So let's see if he goes north or south here on Maine. Maine is a major street here, runs parallel to the 110 freeway, just on the east side of it. Yeah, he's off the freeway just north of it. Yeah, they haven't talked about spike strips, and I think it's because there's no pattern to his driving. In order for them to effectively deploy a set of spike strips, they need to know where he's going and be able to lay those strips out ahead of him. And in this case, I can't make rhyme or reason as to what this person is doing. So it makes it so difficult for them to try to figure out that he's going to be on a certain street or a certain stretch of the highway to do a spike strip. So at this point, that has not been talked about, and even the pit maneuver hasn't been mentioned either. And really the reason behind that is just his speeds. He's going just way too fast. Even though the car is the perfect size for a pit maneuver, unfortunately with these speeds, it's just not going to happen. Yeah, so yeah, he's going eastbound. So the last thing we heard is that they're in surveillance mode, which is why we're not seeing any ground units behind him. But there is an airship overhead, and we're hearing that airship from the county sheriff's department, rather, calling out the streets. So that's how we know the location. And now he's headed eastbound here on Alondra after driving on the wrong side of the road there for just a moment. Right behind us, Harry. And now entering the Compton area. Yeah, he's your side, Harry. Yeah, if they know who the person is behind the wheel, as you said, they have the option of trying to establish communication with them and trying to get them to surrender. So they would be able to call them. Sometimes they'll even have a family member call and try to convince them to surrender. But a lot of the time, the drivers in these pursuits, they will be the ones to reach out to police and either negotiate some sort of surrender or just make no sense, really, just in an effort to get away. We've heard situations where the drivers just ask the police to stop chasing them. And of course, they're not going to do that out of an abundance of caution here for the general public. They need to arrest these people. So that is why, even though we're not seeing any ground units behind the car, you still have the airship overhead from the sheriff's department. They're going to continue to track the vehicle's location. And whenever the car does come to a stop, because, oh my gosh, that was so close. Wow. Sorry about that. Yeah, whenever this car comes to a stop, the sheriff's department is going to be there waiting to take whoever's in the vehicle into custody. He's out your side. Uh-huh. Wow. I'm sorry, Carolyn. I had to hold my breath on that last one. The behavior that we're seeing now is what we've seen the entire time that we've been overhead. But even before that, the pursuit had been going on now for about 15 to 20 minutes prior to us arriving. But this, as you said, started in Lakewood. It was initially on surface streets in Lakewood with the sheriff's department. It eventually jumped on the 91 freeway. So it was on the 91, it was on the 710, the 110, the 105, and is now on surface streets here in the Compton area. We don't know where the car is registered to, but the authorities do. As long as the plate on the car matches the actual registration, they've already been able to run it. They know where the vehicle is registered to, and they can have some units go wait at that residence until this vehicle decides to either go home, or, of course, there's always the possibility that it'll end in a crash before then, because some of the behavior that we have seen has been absolutely incredible. He's crashed into a number of parked cars. He's sideswiped other vehicles, but somehow continuing here, Santa Fe and Alondra in Compton. Southbound here. Yeah, very dangerous driving. Lots of damage to the car as a result. And really no rhyme or reason to what he's doing. I don't know that he knows what the final goal here is. I think he's just so desperate to get away. And it's really interesting, the whole robbery part of it, because even if he had just taken some high-priced glasses, it would be grand theft. But now when you think about everything that he's done in addition to that, just the endangering of the public the way that he has, so many hit and runs that he has been involved in already, and continuing here, really not giving up here in Compton on Artesia. He's behind us, Harry. Yeah, behind us. Yeah, he's behind us. Yeah, eastbound Artesia. And we lost sight of him. We lost sight of him here for just a moment, but I'm just waiting to hear what the sheriff's ship says. We're passing the 710 on Artesia. So pardon me for just a moment. I'm just going to get the camera back on him, but he's on Artesia, passing the 710, so he's near the 91 and the 710 freeway on Artesia, approaching Atlantic, which is this intersection coming up here. So I'm going to just put the camera over here and find him here real quickly. They're saying that he's in a touch of traffic, which I believe is this right here. Yep, gutter lane right here, going eastbound on Artesia, coming up to Atlantic. He's eastbound. Yeah. Yeah, this is actually the slowest I've ever seen him go through an intersection. He usually just plows right through it, but even then, he almost collided with that car there. Really so dangerous. All of these random little turns that he's making in front of other vehicles could really make for a dangerous situation. And now he's going northbound here, northbound Atlantic from Artesia, and maybe getting back on the freeway. Yeah, so this would be the 91 East, which he's been on before. That was the freeway, if you'll recall, that was really busy, and he exited because he wanted to get on the 91 West instead, but he's back on the eastbound side. He's eastbound 91. Yeah, he doesn't want to wait for that slower moving traffic, so he's just going to ride the right shoulder there, which always makes for a dangerous situation, because if your car is broken down, that's where you would be, and then you have this guy driving right up to you. But here's a Cherry Avenue exit coming up. Let's see if he gets off or if he continues eastbound on the 91. If he continues eastbound, there is traffic as far as the eye can see. It likely continues all the way over towards Buena Park at this time of the afternoon. Very busy, but making his way over to the carpool lane. Yeah, so he's continuing here on the eastbound side of the 91 freeway in the North Long Beach area, in and out of the HOV lane. He's even with the traffic, he's still in and out of traffic, using any lane he can to get by. He's exiting, Harry. Yeah. He's gonna go southbound. Yeah, southbound. So Colleen, to answer your question, right now what I'm hearing is that they're just going to go into surveillance mode in an effort to get him to slow down, but it looks like he may be pulling into a parking lot, so this is good. Perhaps this is where he's going to ditch the car. That's really all we could hope for at this point, considering how dangerous this whole situation has been. If he can just get out of the vehicle, that is going to be the best thing for everyone involved, but it looks like he was just cutting through the lot. So Artesia at Downey, yep, he's behind us, Downey Avenue at Artesia, headed back towards the 91 freeway. Northbound, going under the freeway. And he may be stopping. Yep, he's stopping under the... Yeah, I could just make out the taillights. Yeah, so this is the 91 freeway at Downey. I haven't seen him pop out the other side. I did see him. Yeah, he was just parked under there. So we'll wait and see if he pops out the other side or if he flips a U-turn like he's done before under these overpasses. Okay, there's the traffic coming out. I'm listening to the airship and see. There's a woman running, they're saying, under the, yeah. Yeah, they're under there. So what I'm hearing, guys, on the scanner is that the car is under the freeway, and officers are trying to take them into custody. But now I'm hearing the airship thinks that this gentleman might be involved. They're describing. Yes, yes, the officers are under the freeway, but they think that these people might be involved because they saw them come out from under there, and they described a woman who was running. So they think that the woman and possibly this man that is headed towards this home may have been in that vehicle. Yeah, so he's on this property here, just behind the tree there. I'm hearing the airship describe the attire that these two folks are wearing to the ground units, but I did hear that there was a ground unit under the overpass that saw the vehicle. Nobody's in it, so they think that these folks may have been the people that were in the car. Yeah, he was very nonchalant, acting as if he wasn't in the car. So what I'm hearing is that the airship does see him. He says that he's behind a shed. So I see a shed there, and there you go. He's just behind it. So the airship is trying to guide some of the ground units to his location. They believe that he may be the driver, which is why we're sticking with him and not the woman. We saw her run westbound, and at this point it is unclear if any officers are close to taking her into custody. But the man is right behind that shed. There's the sheriff's department pulling up right now. So you'll see the officers draw their weapons and try to take this man into custody. But he's wearing very dark clothes, so he's tough to tell. But he's just behind the shed. I did see one resident walking around. Yeah, I saw one man walking around like the side yard. But he appears to be a resident of the property, but the man who was in that vehicle we last saw in this brush area behind that shed. Yeah, they're making call-outs. He can clearly hear them. They're only a few feet away from him. So what I'm hearing is the airship is still describing his location, so they're still saying that he is in the brush behind the shed. So you're seeing the officers approaching now. Again, they don't believe that this man is armed, so that's a good thing. But of course, they will still approach very carefully as they attempt to take him into custody. This is perfect, Harry. Thank you. Yeah. There he is. And there's the man coming out now. He's walking in the direction of the officers. He appears to be fully complying, and they are taking him down for the arrest. So the driver's in custody. I'm hearing that the woman is also being detained. So both of the people who are believed to be in this vehicle and possibly were involved in that robbery at the Sunglass Hut in Lakewood are now in custody. Yes, it's back with you guys here. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we heard. Yeah, so they split up, which some people who are involved in pursuits often stick together, but they decided to separate. She went west, he went east. She was running, he was walking as if nothing had ever happened. But what we heard was while officers or deputies rather were trying to take the man into custody, they were chasing her as well, and they had her at gunpoint at last we heard. So we believe that she is now being taken into custody. I just heard the code 4, which in police terms means that everyone who should be in custody is in fact now under the custody of the LA County Sheriff's Department. And this pursuit, again, coming to an end here, just under the 91 freeway. That is where they abandoned the car at Downey Avenue. In terms of what this is going to do to your drive here through the area, you can see that the traffic is building a little bit, headed northbound here on Downey, because the vehicle and the police cars are still under the freeway, even though we can't see it. And the property that they ran into was the home closest to the off-ramp for the westbound side of the 91 freeway. But again, the two people that were in that vehicle and led LA County Sheriff's deputies on a very lengthy high-speed chase are now in custody.